We find in Parshas Mishpatim a pasuk Dvar midvar sheker tirchak, from a thing, from a word or a thing, a falsehood. Distance yourself. It's interesting to know we don't find other places in the Torah where it says tirchak. Tirchak, the Sefer Chinuch explains, is tachlis arichok, is distance yourself very, very, very far away from sheker. And we have to understand why sheker is so abhorrent. Why is it so dangerous that we have to be so distant from it? And I remember spending Shabbos in the home of Rav Shimshon Pincus, and the clock was broken. The clock on the wall was broken, and I questioned the Rav about it, and he said, "Well, last week, or 2 weeks ago actually it was, he said, my son took a plate of food and threw it at the clock." I said, "So what did the Rav do?" He said, "I did absolutely nothing." I said, "Why not?" He said, "We only punish in this house, in this home, we only punish for sheker, for falsehood," which was actually the hanaga, that was the practice of the Vilna Gaon, only to punish children for falsehood, because falsehood distorts one's reality and puts oneself into an alternative reality, which is extremely, extremely dangerous. And I'd like to try to explain this a little bit, as much as I can. The world that we live in is a world of falsehood. Our sages tell us it's called Alma de Shikra, the world of falsehood. And the reason is because the reality we see in front of our eyes, we look around, we see chairs and we see tables and we see people and we see objects, all sorts of different things. And that's not the reality. The reality is that in the higher worlds, these are spiritual entities and they're manifesting themselves in this world as physical entities. But this is not the reality that we see. The reality that is in front of our eyes is not the real reality. To get to the real reality, we have to dig very, very deep to understand what's really going on. And for that reason, the world is called Alma the Shik. We see things going on, Tzadik Varalo, Rosh Tovlo, righteous people having bad things happen, um, evil people having good things happen, righteous people having bad things happen. And this is not the reality. This is not really the reality. And therefore it's called Arm the Shikr. Now, every time we associate ourselves, speak or act or think with falsehood, we're just increasing that. We're increasing the amount of falsehood that exists in the world. We're building on it, as it were. We're expanding it. And we're becoming more entrenched in this world of falsehood. That's the negative side. The positive side is every time we affiliate ourselves with truth, and we act with truth, and we speak with truth, and we think with truth, so we're actually dispelling the arm of the shekel. We are pushing it away, and we're getting deeper and deeper into the world of truth that where a Jew is really, really meant to be, and meant to be situated in positions as much as possible. So our job in this world is to look for truth. In fact, the Kotzker Rebbe asked a piercing question. He says that when the spies were sent into Israel to check out the land before entering, so they saw burials taking place, and they saw all sorts of things, and they said, "Eretz ocheles yoshveh," the land eats its inhabitants. So ask the Kotzker Rebbe, so what did they do wrong? What did they do wrong? They were just reporting what they saw. So says the Kotzker Rebbe in his piercing, truthful way, he says, telling the truth is not about just seeing what you saw. Telling the truth is about delving deep within the inner pinings of what's going on and trying to understand it. Right? Hashem was making people die so that they should be preoccupied with their burials and not notice them. Right? The truth is going much deeper than meets the eye and seeing what's going on, trying to understand what's going on. And that's really the truth. And it's quite difficult in Alma the Shikra to get to the truth. Right? As Rev Brevda said many times from Rav Chatzkel Levenstein, you have to dig really, really deep. You need a very powerful drill or a hydraulic press. I'm not sure what they call these things that dig into the ground. But to get to the truth in this world, you really need to dig very, very deep because it's hidden. This is what the Kotzker said, Emes mi'aretz titzmach, because Hashem threw it down and buried it deep into the world, but it's there. Right? For those who are willing to take the time to dig deep, so they will find the truth, right? But it's an avoda, it's a challenge, it's a task at hand to find the truth in this world. Therefore, to find it, we really have to look very, very hard, and it's really not easy. And the way to do it is to cling to people of truth, to find people of truth, like Rav Shimshon Pinchas Zatzal, like Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach Zatzal, and like the very many great individuals that I was merited to find um, in my lifetime. Whenever I found such an individual, I clung to them because I knew that this was a person that I could get truth from. And I advise others to do the same. If you find a person of truth, don't let them go. You know, as as a Rebbe mine once told me, right? You find such a person, cling to that person. Of course, give them their breathing space, but be connected to them as much as you can, because this is how you will find truth in this world. And therefore, the Torah goes out of its way, as it were. And one place it says to distance yourself, and that's from falsehood, because falsehood is the ultimate enemy of somebody striving to cling to the truth. Is the falsehood, because that distorts one's vision and makes a person not see the truth in this world. So therefore, I leave you with that thought, and there's a lot more to say about sheker. It's our sages tell us sheker ein lo raglayim, right? The letters shin, kuf, resh, as they're written in the Torah, they all only have one leg. They have a very weak support, while emes, aleph, mem, taf have two legs. They have a strong support. And it says sheker ein lo raglayim. Sheker cannot exist. Sheker will only exist temporarily. It will not continue to exist. And sheker is a delusion. It's a it's a false reality. That's really what it is. And therefore, we have to try our best to distance ourselves from it and not be fooled and not be pulled in by its enticement. Right? It's a false reality, but it's given a lot of tools to pull us in and to help and to get us to believe in its message, which is really just a load of rubbish. But it's hard to see it. It's hard to see it, and therefore the Torah advises us: "Midvar sheker tirchak." Dvar means even the tiniest speck of something, even if it's not a word, but it's a thing of falsehood. Distance yourself from it, because sheker starts with something small and eventually turns into something big. It influences us to make wrong decisions, and then entraps us in its web, not to be freed. So let's try our best to stay away from falsehood in our speech, in our thoughts, in our actions, right? And stay as closely connected to the truth as we can. And if we do that, we're going to live very happy lives, because a life filled with truth is a life filled with joy. Hashem should help us in this very worthy endeavor. Amen. Kain, T.A. Ratzah.